everybody?
We in business once again.
Yeah, back again.
It's been a hot minute. Apologies for being off the grid for so long.
No apologies.
Yeah.
No apologies at all. I have no apologies.
How's
the
it-
world has not gotten better.
Well, the world definitely has not gotten better. How's life in Gus's world? How's life been?
Life is, I want to say, mostly the same. My poster collection has increased, right? Which has been weird. I acquired some very expensive Tarantino posters from Mondo, so it's been kind of jaw-dropping how I got those.
Which movies?
I got a Kill Bill. It's actual Kill Bill, both of them together. So it's the whole bloody affair. I guess when they premiered it at the New Beverly, and Django when they premiered it at the New Beverly there in L.A. Mondo did a specific poster for them from an artist called Tyler Stout, and I entered a raffle. I won. I bought one ticket out of 100 for the Kill Bill. I won. I bought 2 tickets for the Django, and I won. I won 1 ticket, so my poster collection has been increasing.
So for the Kill Bill one, was that July's rent or was that August's rent that you used to buy the poster?
No, that was $33.
Okay.
That was 33. That was lunch.
That's not bad.
maybe.
That's not bad.
That's
that
a
is a
week's
Vegas
lunch.
lunch for sure.
that's definitely Vegas lunch. But nothing, man. Nothing over here on the home front. Just like everybody else, just dealing with different weather changes and going up and down. Hot one day, freezing the next day. So
You guys are getting a good view of our skies from over there, right? Yeah.
oh yeah, it's been nice and red
Yeah.
from LA. It's been we got a advisory alert, a smoke advisory alert. That's what it is. I'm sure you guys have that.
Yeah, you look on the weather app. It's like unhealthy conditions outside.
Yeah, man. But how are you?
Pretty good, man.
You've had an interesting summer.
Yeah,
so-
a little bit. We'd talk about that a little bit later. Been home for about 3 weeks from a show, so I've been doing a lot of catch up on movies and TV. Just kind of turning my brain off for 3 weeks. I did see 21 Bridges, one of Chadwick's last movies. It's actually really good. Like I wasn't gonna rush to see it in the theater. I don't know why either. Like you look at it, has everything that like you and I would gravitate to for an action movie. Like just a lot of shootouts, foot chases, car chases, a lot of practical stuff. Good actors, Chadwick's. What's Sienna Miller? Is that her name?
I think so.
Yeah, Sienna
I think that's her.
Miller.
I still haven't seen it, but I think that's her.
Yeah,
name.
J.K. Simmons.
I'm just not rushing out to see a Russo brothers film.
What?
I don't know. I'm just like.
Well, they produced it. They didn't direct it. It's more like.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah, this is like a V for Vendetta situation where like the Russo's names are all over it, but they didn't direct it.
It's like one of
Wachowski's
those
was all
Michael
over Vendetta.
Bill,
Yeah,
Michael Bay, kind of like
exactly.
Spielberg stuff, but then you're like, oh,
Yeah, they didn't have anything to do with it.
okay.
Yeah. No, it's actually a good old school cop thriller. And just job was supposed to go one way, it went bad, and then it's like a race to the finish kind of thing. All takes place over the course of one night, a few hours actually.
Yeah, I gotta check it out, man.
Yeah, he was really good in it. Watching a lot of shows. By the way, R.I.P.
Yes.
to Chadwick.
Yes, for sure, 100%. That one hurt. I mean, I was sitting at a park with my kid, and I was like on my phone. I was like, what? I was like standing around. People are just looking at me. I'm like, what? Random people just walking by. I'm like, what? I can't even talk to you guys. I don't know if you guys.
I know. I mean, maybe they were looking at like the undercover cop stash you got too. Maybe your case went bad,
Man,
and they were wondering why you were pissed off.
D'Artagnan hasn't crowed yet. Maybe by the next episode, I'll have a crow. My wife, by the way, I'm sure she might never watch this episode, but if she does, she'll be like, I hate that mustache. She hates the mustache. She hates it.
I've learned that women don't generally like the mustache. They like the beard. They like the full.
They like the beard.
Setup.
They do.
Yeah, mustache and
No
beard.
stash. No stash.
stash
If
is
I had a
nice.
goatee, my wife's actually a big fan of my goatee, but not the
Okay.
stash. Not.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm watching some shows. I watched like Perry Mason. That was really
You're
good.
talking about
on
episode
HBO.
2, man. Episode 2.
It's really
That is a
good.
very, very well shot show. That is,
Yeah, it's a beautiful show. Great cast. I never watched the original show.
Neither.
I don't know if you did.
Nope.
Yeah, all I know is Raymond Burr was in it, and I know the theme song. That's all I know. Which they have a nod to the theme song at some point in the season. You'll see. But I love private investigator stories. Those are immediately draw me in. I know Matthew Reese is a good actor. I didn't watch The Americans, but I know he's a good actor. But no, it's a really good show. You'll love it. What
This is
else did I
coming from
do
the
recently?
guy who, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, goes, "There's too much out there to watch," which I do not believe.
Got to be selective. You got to be
Nah,
selective. There's too
nah.
much.
You just gotta make
There's
time.
too-
You just gotta make time.
I know The Boys is out. I haven't even
Oh,
like. I can't even
oh, it's
fathom
so
getting into that
great.
right now because
It's I'm doing one episode at a time. I'm actually not trying to binge it. We
I do have a list in my notes of like shows that I want to check out, and like that it's dating back to like stuff like Narcos and stuff like that.
oh
Like
Lord. Well,
yeah,
like Narcos
exactly,
season
yeah.
one or like Narcos like the other
Both,
season.
yeah, both, yeah.
Eh, the Michael
But
Pena
Narcos
one is
Mex
like, it's okay. It's Michael Pena.
that one takes place after the original
Pretty
Narcos
much.
series, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, he's a Mexican
Yeah,
cop, or like he's an American cop, but he's from Mexico. It
wasn't
was all
sure if it
right.
was like a Better Call Saul situation where I should watch just jump into Narcos Mexico now and then get into the other season after. But if they
Oh,
take place after, then I think it makes
that's an
sense to
interesting.
just ride the wave. Yeah, just been just doing that, man. What about you, man? What have you been watching?
Man, I so done a lot of TV shows, of course, and I done, what is going on with you over there? Sorry, my dog is, I don't know, she lost a toy or something. Uh,
The headset you got on is,
oh,
is,
it's
is pretty isolated.
my gaming headset, ladies and gentlemen. You
Yeah,
like this
it's.
fanciness? This is what I do
I
when
don't,
I'm on Twitch.
I don't hear any dog. I don't
Oh,
hear any
really?
dog.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic. This is great. This is when people want to watch me get murdered in my video game. So when I Twitch, this is. I don't record myself on Twitch. You hear my voice and a lot of profanity. Let me tell you, there's a lot of cursing going on in video game. But I don't know. I've been on my shows. You know, I finally finished The Sopranos, which was
Like for the first time?
the entirety of it. So from beginning to end. Yes.
Okay.
I worked on half an episode in the last season, so it was like when I got to that episode, it was very interesting because I didn't know what led up to that episode, and then when I finished it, I lingered on the last episode. I knew it was the last episode, so I took like 5 days to get to it, and it got so much heat when it ended back then for that last episode that after watching it, I was like, these guys are brilliant. They just knew how to end that
Yeah.
show. They just knew how to end that fucking show. It was just brilliant.
You know, I was an outsider. I didn't watch the show. I watched the finale because it was the biggest show on TV at the time, so I watched it. And like reading about everything that led up to that finale, and they kind of laid the groundwork for that ending. And I was like, well, I get it. I think it's a great
Oh,
ending.
it's
But
fantastic.
of course, like the hardcore fans at that moment are just
You
like,
didn't see it. You didn't
yeah,
need to see it. You didn't need to see it.
yeah,
You know, if I don't really care
you know
about
it's coming.
spoiler at this
Yeah.
point. It's been almost 15 years, but
Oh yeah, he did.
yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah, you know, and my buddy Adam, my best friend Adam, made a good point. You know, that's a show where if you look at a lot of the killings, it's always when somebody's talking to someone else and somebody comes up behind them and pops them, right? So
Right.
you see the guy go to the bathroom, cuts to him looking at the door because his daughter's walking in, and it cuts to black. And if 3 episodes before the last episode, he's talking to Paulie on the boat when they're like, "What do you think happens?" Excuse me. What do you think happens when you die? And he goes, "I think everything just goes to black." He says that, and it's just
Yeah.
it's that foreshadowing. But I did do something kind of wild since I've been watching
Uh-oh.
stuff, and I
Uh-oh.
went and pulled on a little string, and I went down this dark rabbit hole of director's cuts. And
Oh,
I know we've talked about Snyder cuts and shit like that, but I'm not talking about like release a Snyder cut, which is yes, not that. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about
By the way, there's heat coming for Ayer's Suicide Squad cut. I'm like, come on, man, we don't need that.
name 3 great era films.
I can name one great one, and he didn't direct it. He just wrote it, and that's Training Day.
Harsh Times is good, but
It's good.
people love End of Watch, but it's not good.
Here's the thing, like because I did a couple of shows in jail, like lockup, doing Oakland and like Sacramento and all that kind of stuff. But you watch these movies before doing those shows, and like you hear the way like these like the gang members and all that kind of stuff talk. They just talk like fucking idiots. Like
They are idiots.
That's the thing.
The low level guys are idiots. The high level
Yeah.
guys, they're not in jail.
So once you actually talk to the low level guys in jail, like, oh shit, that's actually how they talk. So he is super authentic. I will give him that. Like he definitely captures like the essence of like gang life and all that kind of stuff perfectly. But like as an outsider, not knowing how inmates or gang members actually talk, I was like, this just sounds silly.
Yeah.
All these guys just
The
talk.
ones
like
that are
ridiculous.
able to stay out of crime and not get caught are the Idris Elbas from The Wire, where they're smart.
Yeah.
He's in community
Yeah.
college. He has a
Stringer,
front.
yeah.
He's Stringer. I forgot his name. He has a little front business of copying. He's smart. The other guys,
Yeah.
he knows they're idiots.
Right.
They're uneducated, and that's what they do.
Here's a problem too. Like guys like Idris Elba, that guy is so good. Like he's such a good actor, and he's so charismatic, and he's such a presence that eventually he's gonna get killed.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a huge blow to the show. The show was still great after that because like each season was kind of like its own locked off kind of story after the first one. But it sucks. It hurts. Yeah, he's a bad guy. He's an asshole, and he deserved it, and all that kind of stuff. But man, he's such a good actor. Like I really wish they wouldn't have killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pulled on that string of director's cut. Okay, and man, did I found websites I wish I was as clever, as fucking investigative as these random people on the internet are. People had websites of comparisons of scenes and minutes and cuts and articles and Hard Target, right? John Woo's Hard Target, Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie, it's cheesy when you watch it today, but it's a great film. Okay,
It's a fun movie.
yeah, it's a fun movie, but there's a different cut of that came to America. There's a 30-minute cut lingering around, or 20-minute cut or something like that lingering around somewhere out there. And then somebody had some
30 minutes longer.
yeah, somebody had some rough images. I guess there's a VHS out there of comparison of just more blood, more action, more gore, more squibs, stuff like that. And it's just been an interesting thing. Sergio Leone's, God, I butchered that. My bad.
okay.
Once Upon a Time in America. The cut that originally got released in theaters was 2.5 hours. His original version was 4 hours, and then that's the one that got played on TV. Okay, so that's the one that people. So the critics hated the original theatrical cut. The director's cut gets released on, TV 3 years later, and then that's the one everybody revisits and loves because it's 4 hours long. And then in 2004 was it? That I read or something like that in the mid 2000s. Excuse me, I'm dying. And Corona. And somebody found 20 more minutes of it or some shit. And then they repackaged it. And now it's I gotta make 5 hours to watch this film. I know it's gonna be great. But man, I gotta make 5 hours to watch this movie.
It's a long time.
So these director's cut that I'm 100% for. I'm always for a director's cut. If it's something that the director's getting behind and they want to redo it, I'm all for it. Now, there's 2 scenarios right now that's going on in current time, today, that I'm a little weirded out after making that stance, which I can probably get to eat my own shoe. And that is, one, they're re-releasing, Coppola's re-releasing Godfather Part 3 in his own cut, which is, okay, I know, you recognize that it's the weakest of the 3, but
it is the weakest, but it's not a terrible movie. There is one terrible thing about the movie. I think everybody could agree on that. It's Sofia Coppola. But the movie is actually it's not bad.
Oh, hashtag cancel Alec. Hashtag.
She's a fantastic director. She's just a terrible actress.
I can 100% agree with that. And Rocky 4. He's doing a director's court, in which I'm all for.
We don't need that.
We don't need it, especially because he always talked about doing a Rocky Balboa director's cut in the commentary of Rocky Balboa. So I'm like, where's that? But he's taking out Paulie's robot. He's taking it out. The whole part where they go to Russia and Paulie's robot, stays and watches the kids.
Didn't I hear that he never really wanted that robot in the movie? It was some kind of trade-off. He had to put it in there for somebody.
Maybe. But his Instagram comments are hilarious. If anybody has a chance, go on Instagram, find that post where he confirms that he's killing off the robot, and people are like, "This is the only reason why I watched the film," and he's like, he's literally responding, or somebody is, to people's comments and going, "It's in the junkyard. I don't know where this is. It's trash." Like so it's gonna be kind of interesting where you take a film and you take out major parts like that. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it won't. A lot of people love Rocky 4. I think Rocky 3 is the best in the series. Rocky 1 is my favorite, but
I'd agree.
3,
I'd agree with you
is-
on.
Yo,
Oh, I could actually hear him now.
yeah, her. While we're talking about Rocky,
Adrian,
her name Adrian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian, come here.
Yo, Adrian. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think Mr. T was the best villain. Cutter Lang.
Clubber.
Clubber Lang.
Clubber Lang. What is your prediction on the fight, Clubber? And he just stares at the camera.
Yeah.
Dang.
But Rocky 4 had a great great scene with Apollo getting taken out. That was big drama. Big heavy drama.
The big ad placement with his boss sweater right there over Apollo Creed's dead body. Just looking at him.
It's just funny, these matchups too. Ivan Drago versus Apollo. I don't think that would ever happen really in real life. The size of those guys.
Wasn't it like an exhibition fight or something like that? Because it wasn't a real boxing fight. Because Apollo was already retired.
It was an exhibition. I thought exhibition was because Ivan Drago was like a legitimate contender, wasn't? Didn't he become the champ from that?
But Creed didn't. No. Creed didn't have a title. He didn't have a belt. I don't remember.
I gotta see it again.
I mean, it was weird. It was a weird. I don't know. I don't know. All I remember is James Brown. In the beginning with his fucking song, it was fantastic.
What was the song that they played when Stallone's getting his training on? That's not Eye of the Tiger, right? It wasn't in part 4.
No,
that was part 3, right?
Part 4. Well, he's training in Russia.
Was it "You're the Best Around"? Was that the song? You're the best around.
Maybe, yeah. It's a lot more like techno-y.
Yeah.
Because they show like a lot of the digits, a lot of the gadgets, and they show him like out in the wilderness training, and then they got Ivan Drago with all the machines, indoor track and shit.
Basically a robot, just
he's like he's a machine. He's a machine.
So what would you say is, in your opinion, the best? Or your favorite director's cut? What's your favorite director's cut?
Ooh. Wow, I was not expecting that question. I don't know. Wow.
Let's say one of your favorites. Okay. Well.
You know what? I've gotten so much shit from you on Facebook, the Facebook. Okay, and I will die on this hill. I understand overall the movie is not that great. Okay, I understand script wise it's not that great. Okay, however, the 30 minutes that they add to Daredevil with Ben Affleck, the 30 minutes, man, that's 30 minutes that they add. There's a whole Coolio court scene that they add to that. That's in the trailer.
That just sounds awful. A Coolio court scene?
It's great. It adds to the character.
So they added 30 minutes to an already bad 2-hour movie. So it's 30 extra minutes of a bad movie.
It's a whole different film. And that's one of those things when you watch it, like Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition. There's so many different shots added to it. The transitions are better. The shots things make more sense. And it's so weird. Like, why would you cut that? Why did you cut this? And I think that's where you have certain directors that get away with that shit. Like, you don't get that with Tarantino. The editors don't tell. I don't know what the editors tell Tarantino, but I'm sure you got to be a lot more ballsy to tell Tarantino we should cut that.
Well, I think it's he's probably just got a. Yeah, he's had the same editor for a while now, hasn't he? I'm pretty sure it's the same editor. So there's a trust there, and they're probably watching it a million times, like everybody else. Like making a movie, and they're just like, all right, well, this is good, but we could lose it.
Well, there's also that flow, right? You're a director, so there's also that flow of like you want to still keep your style, but okay, we got to cut this down because this doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'll tell you, like there's low budget film movie experience. It was a terrible thing that happened. We lost a full day of audio. We had a different sound mixer for the day, and the media didn't get deliver it to the right person. I don't know.
Oh,
You
no.
know, I'll take responsibility for that because it is my thing in the end. But luckily, we had a built-in mic on the camera, so we could at least ADR it later and have some kind of a reference. But for the first cut of the movie, we didn't have those scenes in there, and they're two big scenes. Like they're it's a big reveal of who the villain is and blah blah blah. It's like a Scooby Doo reveal. But without those scenes, like I'm watching, I was like, you don't really miss it. You don't really need it. Like the movie plays fine the way it is. But I put it in there because it was an ultra low budget movie. We made it with friends, and we want to give your friends all the screen time you can give them. And it was a cool little extra fight scene that I had, just to showcase some.
Well,
some more
hold
action.
on. Scooby Doo reveal. Did someone literally wear a mask?
No mask.
Then do not ever use that reference again.
Such a stickler. But yeah, so like sometimes you don't need certain scenes. Sometimes you kind of you hang on to something because you personally love it, but maybe the movie doesn't actually need it. In the end,
But if it doesn't do damage, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think if you add it in there and we've had this discussion about different films, like even if it adds extra to the story, an extra layer that didn't need it, but it didn't hurt it,
right?
Why not have it? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd have to pick if I had to pick of one of my favorite directors, it would be Leon, the Professional. And I could see why they cut out the scenes that they cut out because it's 1994 in America. America's very uncomfortable with any kind of sexual. Everybody should be comfortable with sexualizing a minor, obviously, but there was never anything in that movie that like reached Lolita standards to be really like uncomfortable. But there was he took Matilda on like training missions, actually while he went to go actually kill people. And it was a full half-hour segment with that. They had a dinner scene. She's drinking champagne. Of course, Minor's getting drunk at a dinner table. She's flirting with him, all this kind of stuff. So I can see why a studio head might be a little. But I thought it was a great scene.
Fun fact.
Great scene.
She always has a cigarette. She never puffs on it,
Uh-huh.
and you never. You never see her light it.
Oh, okay.
But she has a lit cigarette.
Gotcha.
When she's like, like this. She's got one, but you never see her.
She never smokes it. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
because she's too young.
Exactly.
But looking at her like, oh, he's letting her just smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. But I love that scene. You've seen it, right? The director's cut.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Oh, yeah.
That first drug dealer that he takes her in, he's got the guy's gun in the guy's mouth. He's dragging him around the apartment, making sure it's empty, and then he's telling her what to do. She's shooting him with the paint gun again. And he's like, next shot, you got to go higher, and never shoot him in the face and blah, blah, blah.
And the guy with the gun in his mouth is like...
Yeah. But then I love it, too. He's talking to her, and the guy's like, what the hell's going on? And then from the other side, he just shoots him and just actually kills the guy. It was such a good moment. And then I think that played really... And it flowed really easily. It was an extra 25, 30 minutes. All one block of extra stuff. And then there's one other scene later where she plays Russian roulette, right? And I don't think that was in the.
She's crying though. There was a point to that.
Yeah, she was if I win, then you do this job for me. You kill the guys that killed my.
Yeah.
And if I die, then you lose. So it was a big dramatic moment. The gun was loaded. So I could see that was another one. All right, heavy for American audiences, sure, but it really made the movie so great. It was a great director's cut.
Talking about movies, I went to the movies
for the first time since.
For the first time, I went. I was one of those people.
I'm not quite brave enough. You wore a mask the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bottle of water with me, but I wore a mask. I mean, I have one of those. I'm one of those cheesy people that wears a neck mask.
Oh, okay. The gaiters.
Yeah, the gaiters. So it's not that bad for me.
All the CDC and all the people, they say the neck gaiters don't work. We'll get into it later, but the show I just worked on, a lot of people were in neck gaiters, and I can't.
It's 200 degrees here in Vegas. Yeah. I'm wearing. I work outside.
Yeah.
Okay, people. I'm wearing something that I can breathe. But I saw Tenet. I really wanted to watch the New Mutants, but I didn't get around to it. So I saw Tenet. The theater was clean. But they had air purifiers everywhere. Shout out to Galaxy Theaters because it was super clean. People were awesome.
Floors weren't sticky anymore?
Well, that theater's only been open for a year, so they're not there yet. That theater's still kind of brand new, but I saw it in the Sony theater. I didn't get to see it in the IMAX because we don't have a real IMAX theater here.
Okay.
We have the Mini Max.
That's what it's
And
called?
I'm not. I call it a Mini
Mini-Max.
Max.
Yeah, just the sound quality, but not the picture.
They got the screen. They got the screen, but it's at a Regal and it's at an AMC.
But is it the 70 millimeter full scope, or is it just the smaller screen with the higher picture quality and sound? Because like the AMC Burbank is not a true IMAX screen.
I'm trying to remember. I think the one that's at the Brennan Theaters in the Palms, which I don't think the Palms is open. I think it's an actual screen because I remember seeing 300 there, 15 years ago. I saw Batman v Superman at the Regal IMAX, and I think the screen was big, but I don't think it was an IMAX screen. But they sell an IMAX tickets, $20-something. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the Sony theater, which is a huge screen, brand new laser projector, the Atmos sound. Let me tell you, cinematic wise, the movie delivers.
Yeah,
it's Nolan, right? You're gonna get what you pay for. It looks beautiful, and maybe that's what I liked. Maybe that's why I walked out of the movie going, "Oh, it was good." And then you drive home and you talk to other people, and you're like,
about it.
"It's not that good." You're like, "This movie's not that good at all." There's zero character development. The main character does not have a name. He goes by the protagonist the whole film.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And my buddy Adam says it. He's like, "Let me really put it in simplistic forms for you." The movie spends the whole time explaining the movie to you.
That's like Nolan's crutch for most movies. I think everybody's biggest complaint is he over explains things. Like Interstellar was, did that as well. But it depends. Like I don't mind exposition if I don't fucking understand something.
This is like if you took, Interstellar and times it by like 100.
Okay.
This is literally all it is, which is. It'd be interesting to see Nolan do something else. It'd be interesting. That's why I like Nolan when he did Batman. Even though those 3 Batman films are not my favorite Batman films, they're just very entertaining.
Right.
They're a lot of fun, right? But he's confined to, I got to tell a Batman story at the end. But when he's like, "Oh, I'm Nolan and I get to do whatever I want," dude, just get away from the science fiction crap. Just make some action.
I don't know. I don't mind that he's legitimately the only director that could command the budgets that he's commanding with an original concept. So maybe he's a concept guy. He's a concept guy.
Cruise gets away with that. Tom Cruise.
He gets away with it with Mission Impossible, but he doesn't really get a lot of like outside movies that have huge, like the Jack Reacher movies. I think were average like $60 million budgets, something like that. So like $200 million budgets. Even like the Mission Impossible ones, I think they were still like 150, 160. Like. They're giving him 200 for this space movie.
Well, 100 million is just based off insurance alone on Tom Cruise. So.
Did you see his latest stunt that's making around the rounds for Mission 7?
I saw the picture of it, and I saw a picture of him flying forward, getting off the dirt bike. You see the harness and everything. So I'm just kind of interested in how that's going to fit in and why, even though you're getting away from somebody or chasing somebody, why would there be a really, really long ramp? On the edge
don't question the Mission Impossible. So. They've been doing a good job for 6 movies.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm there with a bucket of popcorn. 100%. I am there.
If we don't have a second outbreak.
Yeah. But when you have Nolan, Dunkirk was okay. It was cool what he did with the sound and doing the clicking.
I haven't
the time.
I haven't watched it again in its entirety since the theater. And in the theater, I watched it in IMAX. Which that movie was almost entirely shot on 70 millimeter IMAX film because there's not a lot of dialogue in that film except for like the people on the boats, coming to save them. Like other than that, there's no real long dialogue scenes in that movie.
Only Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, exactly.
Just stern face all the time.
So you're fully involved like in that IMAX 70 millimeter. So it was an experience. But like my brothers watched it at home. I think we talked about this before. My brothers watched it at home, and he's like, "Yeah, I get what he was going for, but it was slow. It was a slow movie." So I mean,
slow movie for a stopwatch that's going tick, 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 the whole time. But the sound. A lot of people had issues with the sound. My buddy had an issue with the sound where the music. I don't know if you could talk about the score or the music, but sometimes the sound was too amplified over the dialogue.
In Tenet.
In Tenet, And I didn't get that, but also I'm one of those people that like if they're talking and it just starts getting to a point where it's just kind of nonsense. Think like Matrix Reloaded where he's talking to the architect and 5 minutes into that I'm just like just get on with it. If it starts dragging for
Right.
me, I just kind of start paying attention to everything else and don't really pay attention to dialogue anymore because I'm like this is
That scene is awful
you've
in
lost me.
Matrix Reloaded.
You
Like the best thing to come out of that was the MTV Movie Awards spoof on it with Will Ferrell as the architect, just yelling at Neo back and forth.
wasn't he? Didn't he play? Didn't he play the guy? Didn't he play the guy from Zoolander when he did that?
He looked
I
like
thought
him. He looked like
he
him.
looked like
yeah,
him,
with the
right?
blonde hair and all
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it wasn't the same.
I was like, man, it's been so long. I can't believe you remember that.
Interstellar
But-
had sound issues as well. People had issues with the sound as well. Like especially when they're detaching at the end. You know, like McConaughey's going one way, Hathaway's going the other way. Like the music's really booming, the sound's tough. It's tough for them to hear. But like, I mean, I liked it. I mean, it felt like, I mean, maybe this is how it would be.
I mean, I'm partly deaf at this point in my life, so for me, it's like, oh, it's so nice and loud, you know. But the movie overall, cinematically, go watch
Yeah.
it. If you're looking for something really like big-eyed cinematically, fantastic.
I don't know when I'm gonna get to the theater out here
Excuse me.
in LA. I don't know.
There's nothing open in California.
Exactly. So this
That's why they pushed Wonder Woman
this
again.
is why they should have pushed Tenet. You know, the movie's a $200 million movie. Okay, what it's made
oh,
150 worldwide.
fun
maybe?
fact. Fun fact. Before we recorded this podcast, I saw today Variety released an article. Warner Brothers is not releasing any box office numbers for Tenet,
Well, I mean, the worldwide numbers came out the first week.
but not domestic, and it's pissing off all the studios because they want to see like where are we at, what are we doing, how's
Yeah.
it looking, and they're like, no,
Yeah, because it's not
No.
good. That's why.
of course not. Dude, I saw Tenet in the theater of 150 people, and yeah, they were doing social distancing, and yeah, certain seats were blocked off. It was 5 of us.
Yeah.
And I'm 5.
Right.
And that's because I had an extra ticket, and out of 10 people I called, nobody could go.
And it's not just people being ready to go back to the movie. It's people being able to afford to go to the movies. There's so many people out of work right now. They just can't, like, the movie ticket prices haven't changed, right? They're still the same. So, like, nobody's going to the movies. Like, it's just not, like, it was so foolish for them to push that. And maybe that was a big Nolan thing. Maybe he pushed it hard. But they're going to learn. They're going to learn. Like, that movie might make $200 million worldwide. Maybe. And then it's going to take years to recoup.
I don't know, my buddy in that comment section, he's like, that movie's going to make 800 million. I was like,
Well, it wouldn't have made 800 million in a normal. So it would have maybe made 600. I think that's a movie that has 600 million written all over it on a normal summer, where we don't have Corona.
that's still very
Yeah,
optimistic.
I think. Well,
I wonder what Interstellar did.
Interstellar did about that, between like 650, I think, worldwide. It was a quiet $650 million gross. That's how powerful Nolan's name is, though. Like, yeah, Matthew McConaughey is the lead, and he was having kind of a renaissance or whatever, but it's still sold on Nolan's name. Like he's one of those guys now. So it like quietly made 650 million. It was still a hit movie. So yeah, like it was foolish for them to push it. Got Bujo creeping in. It was foolish to push it, and I think they should have waited. They should have waited till next summer. Yeah, they'll learn the hard way.
I read a headline that Wonder Woman has now changed more dates than the New Mutants has changed.
That's funny.
Which is interesting because now it's coming out Christmas Day. And
Yeah,
Dune is most likely going to get pushed because that's like a week later.
So let's talk about Dune real quick. That trailer is awesome. I'm a big fan of Denis Villeneuve, if that's how you say his name.
Thank God you said that because I can't say that. That is V.
Dennis V, yeah, DV. Big fan of DV since Prisoners. I've been watching all his stuff. But
did you like Blade Runner?
I did like Blade Runner a lot. Like there's another theatrical experience. The sound quality in that movie and the Deacon cinematography, like you got to see that on the big screen. But it didn't do well, and this won't either. Like even in a normal, like non-COVID era, like do you run into a bunch of people like, oh man, Dune's coming out? Like I read that book way years ago.
The problem with Dune is the problem with Dune is I think Peter Berg said this is you read Dune, I read Dune, and we imagine whatever your imagination is so different.
Yeah.
So if you shoot it and I shoot it, you go, oh man, I would have made it look like this, or man, I would have made it look like that. And what people with Dune is when they walk into it, even though it's telling the story, even though you know how the story is going to go, you visualized it so differently. It's not like comic book, right? When you watch a comic book, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, there's a little liberty with that, but it's still structured around something I've seen or I have already imagined. You know, I got a Batman logo, but like with Dune, it's your imagination is so wild that it's hard to make it what everybody think it might look like.
But sadly, like the problem with it not doing well today, even if we didn't have Corona, is that it's just a big budget, serious science fiction movie. Yes, there's an IP attached to it because of the novel and all that kind of stuff. But like, nobody is gonna be excited to see Dune. It's a great cast, sure, but like nobody's like, oh man, I gotta see Dune. Dune's gonna be fucking
maybe
awesome.
You might get some people coming in for Zendaya, and you might
Maybe.
get some people.
It's gonna be Blade Runner 2049 all over again. Like it'll make.
I don't know how much that made.
Money.
I don't remember.
It made like it didn't even break even. You know, like
Really?
It made enough like to like come close to breaking even, but
I
probably
think that's a hard. Well, I don't know if I was gonna say it's a hard comparison, but I'm like, well, it's a 30-year sequel. We're talking about a 30-year remake. It's actually not a hard comparison. I was just thinking. I was about to say it, and I ate my own words.
Well, I mean, I always look at it too. There's a book attached to it. Like it's just a new adaptation. I wouldn't consider it
It's
a
the
remake.
third one.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it. It's a third adaptation.
There's one in the 2000s apparently done. I don't know
Oh, I
if
think
it was a
on
straight to TV
TV.
movie
Yeah, I think it was on TV.
or what, but yeah, there was a third one.
Yeah,
But-
so I don't know.
Why
man.
not? I'm all for
about
it.
Dune.
Sure, why not? Got
Yeah.
Dave Bautista. Sure, cool. I'm in. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So would you say Dunkirk was your least favorite Nolan movie?
I'm processing that. No. I would say, and this is gonna get a lot of flack. I would say Dark Knight Rises is my least favorite.
I don't think you get a lot of flack for that. That movie has a lot of problems. You know, it's still.
You so casually, very straightforward. That movie has a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's still like I'm still a fan of it. You know, like I'm still a fan of Nolan's style. Like, you know, like a lot of it felt rushed, and like, you know, I don't care what anybody says. Like I'm positive that Heath Ledger had a bigger part for.
Oh,
Dark Knight
he was supposed to
Rises.
be. Oh, 100%. 100%.
So,
He
like-
said that too. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So there's like, you know, there's a lot of like, all right, well, how do we fix this? How do we go a different route? And Bane's just not as interesting as Heath Ledger's Joker. He's just not.
He sticks so much to this realism, and he was kind of getting fantasy with the first Batman Begins, and then he got a little bit more fantasy with the Dark Knight, especially when he does the sonar thing, and you can literally see the scars in the sonar, and you're just like, okay, this is a little ridiculous, but I'll buy it. That's cool. That's cool. A bus crashes into the bank. He loads into the bus, and it joins another train of buses leaving, and nobody sees. That's weird. Okay, cool. I'll buy it. But then you get to Dark Knight Rises, like, no, we're gonna be more grounded. You know, we're gonna get rid of the pit. We're gonna get Talia's here, and then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna just be serious. And it's like, nah.
By the way, Talia, Marianne Cotillard.
Oh, she's great. She's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Inception and so many other films. My favorite is Midnight in Paris. She's in Midnight in Paris.
Yes, she was. That was a good movie.
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
I-
But
I-
Woody Allen, you know, for being a sexual predator, he definitely had a renaissance when he started doing movies in Europe, like
Yeah.
because for a while it was just like, all right, it's another Woody Allen movie, I'm bored. But then, like, you know, he had Match Point, which is great. Vicky Cristina Barcelona,
Yep, Vicky
sexy
Cristina
movie,
Barcelona.
very sexy
Yep.
movie. Midnight in Paris. He did something.
Midnight in
else that-
Paris is just so jaw dropping because it's not your. I didn't feel like it was a typical Woody Allen film, and it didn't. And I know we're going completely off the rails here.
It's okay.
And you had Owen. Was it Owen Wilson?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. You had him, and then you got her. It was just like I remember watching that at ArcLight, and I remember just going into it. It's a Woody Allen film, whatever. Let's watch it. And I remember walking out like, that was fantastic. That was like when I watched The Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller. It's like, I'll go watch it. And then I watched it, and I was like, this movie is fantastic. Everybody needs to watch it. What, really?
I
Dude,
love the
music
trailer.
to-
I love the trailer for it with the
Oh,
Monsters and
no.
Men. I forget what song they used, but it was such a great trailer. And I was like, oh man, this movie's gonna like hit the heart. That's what it felt
It
like.
didn't?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
It was okay. It was okay.
It
It
was
was not
so
terrible.
good. The
but it was
music
okay.
was great, and it's a remake too. So
Oh, okay.
I found that out. But
Yeah.
all right,
there was-
well,
there-
we're getting,
there-
we're
there was
getting off
great,
the hinges.
There was great
again.
moments, but all right. So you mentioned the Armando Tarantino posters. Let's talk a little bit about Tarantino.
Let's Adam. Let's
question
talk about
is-
Tarantino.
The question is Tarantino still as good of a storyteller as when he first came on the scene?
Yes,
I disagree.
Hard yes.
I disagree.
he has been consistent. How has he not been consistent? He has been consistent.
Well, he's changed. He definitely changed his style. There was a point where his style completely changed, and that happened with Kill Bill.
Has he changed his style, or has he just ventured into new genres? I've been thinking about this because I knew you were going to bring that up. And
Well,
I've been
new
thinking about
genres, but like also like his. There's moments, like in these new movies, like Inglourious Bastards, like the basement scene, which is fantastic. It's like a 30-minute scene with Michael Fassbender in the basement.
Oh, in the bar. Yeah,
in the bar, and then in the opening scene with Christoph Waltz looking for the Jews in the basement. That was like a 20-minute scene. Like you don't feel it because the writing is so good and the acting so good, and it really just like that I feel like is the greatest example of how great of a writer Tarantino can be. But then he kind of gets bogged down by like, oh, I love my, exploitation of this or that. And like, I love hearing myself talk. And Hateful Eight is the prime example of Tarantino loving to hear himself talk for way too long. Especially that whole chapter where like it's him, he's narrating a chapter in a Western. You got a Western, you're going for like 90 minutes. And then you hear Tarantino's voice. It's so jarring.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. So just to give everybody a little backstory, me and him got into this on the social media world where Alec was just yelling at me and telling me, "Save it for the podcast," and I'm like, "No, we're doing this now."
This was actually a private text chain. I think we were going back and forth.
Was it private?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay. And I completely turned into what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? The broadcast guy. We're doing it live.
Bill O'Reilly.
We're doing it now.
Thing sucks.
Fucking thing sucks. We're doing live. So everybody knows like this conversation is picking up very heated already.
Let's take it. Let's take
like,
it from the top. Let's take it from Tarantino. The top shows up. Reservoir Dogs. What did that movie do for you? Reservoir Dogs.
You know what, man? That was a movie I remember watching, and I remember like just trying to figure it out. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because he was one of those. I don't know if I would say first, but he was one of those first people that would kind of cut back and forth because you get into the bank chase, and then you're kind of going back to him like learning to become undercover, and then you're kind of going back to him doing this, and then you kind of go back to him like where the black cop, I remember the guy's the name. He's like, you got to tell that story, man. You got to tell that story, or they're gonna know. And then they cut back to like them planning the heist and then getting the cut. So to me, it was like really astonishing.
Yeah.
But I love it.
It was layered. Reservoir Dogs was layered. It was a fantastic debut for a director, and he almost didn't direct it. I don't know if you knew that. Tony Scott had both scripts. He had Reservoir Dogs and True Romance, and he wanted to direct both. And Tarantino said you could only have one. So
I forgot I got a True Romance poster as well.
True Romance is out. True Romance. That's Tony Scott's best movie in my opinion.
Yes, it is. It is by far.
And speaking of that cop that you mentioned in Reservoir Dogs, there's a line in both movies that's similar. Gary Oldman says it in True Romance, and the cop says it in Reservoir Dogs. We got everything here from a diddle-eyed Joe to damned if I know. That's in both movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just saw True Romance like 2 weeks ago because I got that poster and I was like, I'm gonna watch True Romance.
That's a director's cut situation as well because it was so violent. Yes. And I had both copies. I had a director's cut and I had the theatrical cut on VHS back in the day. And the R-rated one, they would stretch the frame a bit. I don't know if you noticed, so you don't see as many of like
More of a pan and scan.
a little bit, like just kind of stretch it up this way, so you don't see
Full screen?
you don't see too much of the squibs and all that. There's no close up of Gary Oldman's junk getting blown off, all that kind of stuff. That was a shocking scene. But yeah, so all right, so Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction changed independent film forever, for sure. And it's a fantastic movie.
I mean that was at a peak. It was like what Pulp Fiction was that year, then you had Clerks, yeah. So you had a lot.
There was
of
a
stuff
boom.
going
There was a
on.
Miramax boom, for sure.
For sure.
Miramax changed the scene.
We won't say the other name.
Oh yeah, no, we won't discuss him.
We
As terrible as a person as he is, he gave us a lot of great movies. Sadly, we would have never had. I mean, not that Kevin Smith is
his name shall not be spoken.
not that Kevin Smith is making good movies now, but Clerks it's a seminal independent film. So it's sad that this guy's name is attached to all these great movies. But my personal favorite Tarantino movie was the next one, which was Jackie Brown.
It's great. It's great. My buddy who's read the book, he says he changes the ending, but he actually makes it better.
And that's the thing. Like it was the only Tarantino movie where it came from a different source material other than his own, and I feel like it's his most mature film. Like there's not as much Tarantino in it as far as like the shock value, shock scene. There is the one shocking scene with Bridget Fonda, but other than that, it's just a straightforward, good drama thriller. And I think it just holds up so well compared to a lot of his other things. And that's
I think that's the most I've ever seen Robert De Niro relaxed.
Yeah, as a stoner criminal.
Fucking got a Hawaiian shirt on, fucking shorts.
Sam Jackson was funny, but he was also kind of terrifying. He was a good
Bitch, answer the phone.
I just love how he's there watching.
Hello, it's for you.
He rolls up there watching TV and he's like, "Is that Rucker Hauer?" But then, he took the break, right? There was a break between that and Kill Bill, right?
Yes,
and then everything
huge
changed.
break.
Like Kill Bill on, everything was so over the top, like the violence, like blood gushing everywhere. Like it was everything was so over the top from that point.
But I think that was supposed to be purpose. It's supposed to be purposeful in Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, yeah.
The blood gushing. You're supposed to get stuff like the story of Ricky O.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, or those old, martial arts film. Shaolin films where they're cutting people's shit off. I remember watching an old martial arts film, if anybody can tell me the name of it, where this guy gets his arm cut off, he still keeps fighting, gets his other arm cut off, he still keeps fighting, gets his leg cut off, he still keeps fighting, gets his other leg cut off, so he's just a big stub with a head, and he's still trying to fight.
So you're not talking
and the only way to kill him...
about Monty Python's Holy Grail?
No, it's an actual martial.
Yeah,
no, it's an actual martial arts film, and then they finally cut out the head. I remember watching it with my dad when I was a kid, and my dad's like, "He's not gonna die," so he goes for that. In Kill Bill, you get
it makes sense in Kill Bill, but then even like in Django, there's some way over the top squib work.
But I'm all for it because you're killing fucking racist.
You're killing them,
people.
but it could still be like an effective thriller in a way, without going so over the top. Like the house blowing up at the end, it was just so ridiculous. Shooting people and they're literally flying off.
That wasn't ridiculous. The blowing up the house wasn't ridiculous. What I thought was a little ridiculous in the end there was that they went to the funeral and they come back, right? And he had enough time to line the inside of the house with dynamite. Because when you watch them come back into the house and he starts shooting them, okay, you can pay attention to all the wiring, right? Because he's lining the house with the dynamite, and you're just like, oh, okay.
What was that? And then he shoots, Candy's sister. She just flies off the screen. I was like, all right, man, it's just getting silly.
Yeah, no,
it's silly.
Yeah.
His best movie since he's gone to this over-exaggerated violent stuff was Inglourious Basterds. That's been his best since the change from Kill Bill.
I love it. It's great. But you didn't have a problem with Hitler getting his face blown off.
That was awesome.
When
that was awesome.
Machine guns him there. Oh,
it was fun.
No
that was a
funny.
It was a funny scene. It was a funny
scene. Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, I think my biggest problem with him, though, like even past over dramatic stuff, he just loves to hear himself just talk too much now. Like once upon a time in Hollywood, like I got so much shit too from people like out here in LA, like, oh, how could you not like that? It's about Hollywood. It's like, just because it's about Hollywood doesn't mean you automatically love the movie.
I can care less about that. That's why people, even though La La Land is great, but it won because people, L.A. loves to
Yeah.
see.
But it didn't win.
L.A.
But it didn't win.
No, it didn't. But it got nominated for like 15
Yeah.
different million things by a very young director.
Yeah.
Which the soundtrack is amazing. But
I think
anyways,
it won most of the stuff it should have. I don't think it should have won Best Script, and it shouldn't have won. There's something else, but I thought Emma Stone was pretty great in it, and
that was my only issue with that film, and I think we've talked about this. Is why would you make a movie about struggling people and cast like some beautiful people?
you still got to sell the movie. Man.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, yeah. All right, whatever. But we've had that discussion.
Yeah.
So with Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think it was you that told me there's no character
No, I
development.
didn't say there's no character development. There's just nothing happens in the movie. There's just nothing that.
I don't
There's
agree.
no story there.
I don't agree.
Struggling
You
actor.
see,
Okay.
what's his name? Leo's character name?
Fuck.
Cliff is Brad.
Cliff is
right?
Brad. I forget his name.
Sorry, people. I try to retain a lot of information.
We got
and
kids. We got dogs.
Doesn't always
yeah.
retain. Yeah, we got shit going on. I got an actual real job outside of this, so, like you don't see him evolve because he was at his peak and then he falls down from his peak, and that's when he's doing that movie with that little girl, the Western movie
Yeah.
with is it Timothy Oliphant?
I believe so. Yeah, it's his show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his show, and then that scene where she tells him, "You're the greatest actor
Yeah.
I have ever seen," and he's like, "God damn it!" That, and then he goes into spaghetti westerns in Italy. Out of
There's no
nowhere,
evolution.
and
That's
then he
just, just where actors go to the next plane. Like back then.
true, but then he comes back, and you kind of see him at this kind of like he's content, and he knows it's ending, and he's kind of embraced it a little bit. He's letting Cliff go, and that's why he's at the house. That's his last night driving for him, remember? And he's like, "Hey man, I can't afford to pay you anymore. I'm gonna have to sell the house or whatever." And then all that shit happens. That fantastic ending
It
happens.
was fantastic. I mean, it's just like.
Well, all of it is real. All of it is true until that point.
Yeah, and I knew it was going to happen because of the groundwork he laid in *Inglourious Basterds*. It's like this is going to be another alternative history movie.
I wasn't expecting
It's gonna
it.
be yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting for him to open the door for them.
It's going to be
there.
another alternative history movie. Like you can only pull that card once. You can only do that once.
My understanding was it is true that the neighbor yelled at the car
Yeah,
because they were on a private road.
but I'm
and,
just talking in
the girl
regards
did run
to
away.
Sharon Tate surviving like that. Like
Yeah. I didn't. I expected her to survive, but not in that way. I expected them to go to the house and somebody see it. Does that make
Right.
sense? And kind of turning. I don't know, but that whole scene there at the end was fantastic.
it was fun. It was silly, but it was just like all right.
The amount of action and when he threw the fucking
It's
dog
just
food at her
it's just
face.
a joke. Again, it's just like I don't know. Like
No, he's getting old, people.
his
He's
movies
getting
are
old.
lacking substance. That's the thing. That's
Alec
the thing.
is gonna yell at people to
Yeah.
get off his lawn. This is what
Tarantino
we're
movies
getting
are
at, people.
lacking substance. The last two movies, Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time.
I
lacking
highly
substance.
disagree with Hateful Eight. I can't believe it. Did you see Hateful Eight in theaters?
I did.
Did you see 70 millimeter?
Not in 70 millimeter. It didn't make a
Okay.
difference. Like the story wasn't good. Like it was just It could have been good. Here's what could have improved the movie.
Come on, son.
Chopping out 2 chapters of that movie would have improved it dramatically.
Here we go.
And here they go. You ready for this, audience? I'm gonna save Hateful Eight for. If anybody wants to actually do their own fan edit of Hateful Eight, you'll watch this movie play so much better. So, take out the whole chapter of Channing Tatum and his crew coming there before Sam Jackson and everybody arrive and massacring everybody. Take that whole scene out, because how great of a cameo would have been. You get that camera shot, you come down, you see Channing Tatum and the thing. He blows off, was it Walton Goggins? Or no, he shoots Sam Jackson in the nuts, right? Shoots Sam Jackson in the nuts. He comes out, he gets his head blown off. That would have been a hilarious cameo. And you don't see Channing Tatum anymore. And I feel like he still would have signed up for it just to be in that scene. But then, like, you get the reveal later, when everybody's just talking, like, Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's doing her whole spiel about, all her people are going to come and all that. And then you get the slow reveal, like, oh, Tim Roth's in on it. Oh, Michael Madsen is in on it. You reveal that then, instead of the story you already saw, the chapter you already saw, where Michael Madsen's in on it. Tim Roth's in on it because they arrived with Channing Tatum. The surprise is always better. And then Sam Jackson's great monologue, early, before he gets his nut shot off. During that whole scene, You see that hand come in and pouring the poison into the pot. Get the shot at the reaction of Jennifer Jason Leigh. And then you get a whole chapter after that about her having this secret about seeing the poison, just so you could hear Tarantino yap, yap, yap for a few minutes. Just take that whole chapter out. How great of that scene would be. Like, it's just the monologues happening. This hand comes in, you're like, oh shit. As an audience member, you're like, oh shit. You see her reacting. She doesn't say anything. We keep going. We keep moving.
I don't disagree too much on the Tarantino narrating and the poison part. I do disagree on the whole establishing of them getting there, because they talk so much about, is it Mimi? Is it
Mimi's place? I think something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And how, one, she wouldn't leave it to a Mexican.
Right.
I love that. And two, that she would never let anybody wear a hat or do something. Like, she wouldn't do that.
But you could still say that. You could still say that. Like, that could still work. With just
but it's like this. It's revolving. Like, that's Sam Jackson's been there before, and he's like, this is strange. I've been here before. Like, she really would do this. Like, she went on vacation. Like, her papa or mama was sick. Like, and they talk about it. So when they get there and then they see that, like, I think it adds to the story in the sense of just being like, okay, Sam Jackson did know his shit, because he's fucking lying about that Abraham Lincoln letter, but he knew his shit, So he's a lot more clever than you think,
I'm coming down on Hateful Eight and all that, but it's still a 2-star movie. It's not like a 1-star. I hate it.
Well, you do. He does measure things out of 4 stars, people. So
yeah, 4 stars. 4 stars should be the standard. 5 stars is weird. 5 stars is a weird thing. 1 star is
looks prettier on the poster.
Yeah. Well, 1 star is definitive. Like, this movie sucks. 3 stars is like, oh, this is a good movie. 4 stars, this is a great movie. 2 stars is like, you know what? 2 is like, this movie's okay. I don't need to see it again.
No, watch it, people. Watch it. If you haven't seen, especially if you haven't seen the longer version on Netflix, is much
longer. Why would we need it to be longer? We need it to be shorter. It needs to be shorter.
I'm all for it.
But once upon a time, it was like the same thing. It was like, all right, it's a bunch of scenes. It's just a bunch of scenes. The Bruce Lee scene, okay, like that's why he got kicked out of Hollywood, sure, whatever, as a stuntman. But like, it was just a bunch of scenes.
Bruce Lee ain't all that in a bag of chips, man. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. I bought, oh shit, it's over there. I bought the Criterion brand new 5-disc movie that came out this summer. Bruce Lee thing, Blu-ray, and I'm a fan, but he had an ego.
Did you see the 30 for 30 on him? Be Water?
No, but I'll check it out. But the thing is, he had an ego, and people, he died at his mistress's house. Y'all know that, right? He died.
They didn't cover that.
Yeah, he died at his mistress's house because she gave him some Tylenol, Advil, or some shit.
Yeah, no, they did cover that. They didn't say it was a mistress. It was just a fellow actress.
Yeah, it was his mistress. That is a known fact.
Where'd you read that?
That is a known fact. Even the mistress, she has a name. She's not just goes by mistress.
She was interviewed. She was interviewed.
Yes. So they had known, and she got accused of possibly
poisoning her.
Drugging her, yeah. And she had to go to court for that shit. Yeah. But that was his mistress. He ain't no saint. That's what I'm saying, man.
His wife didn't dive into that, and she didn't dive into that. So
yeah, no, because she wants the money.
But I will say it was very surprising how much Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, got correct. There was so much stuff in that documentary. I was like, oh, this shit really happened, and it was in Dragon Bruce Lee story. Like that was Rob Cohen's best movie.
Rob Cohen's best movie?
Yeah. That and then Monster Squad.
Monster Squad wins by landslide, even though I think Daylight is a lot of fun.
Daylight's fun, but the people he's trying to rescue are annoying.
A piece of shit. They're
yeah,
horrible. They're fucking horrible. The one guy that dies is the one I wanted to see live.
The guy, the security
guard,
right?
Yeah, the black security guard, because he had just proposed to the girl who works there. Oh.
But it's also the actor too. That actor's been in so many stuff. Like he's one of those actors you automatically kind of like, oh, I hope he makes it. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, like I think the fact that everybody sucked in that movie besides Stallone and that guy, I was like, I don't care if any of these
Sebastian Stallone was in it.
He was in it.
He was in it.
It was one of the
and Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, he got crushed by the.
He got crushed.
Stuff.
He got crushed. But it's funny you brought up Monster Squad. I was just watching that last week because we have decorated our home for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
As you guys can see, I'm very excited. My
They're
wife.
allowing trick or treating in Vegas.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is for that, but I'm kind of known around here for being the house that actually buys like candy bars. So people like to come to my house. But my garage is on a street, like a main street. I live in a townhouse, so what a lot of people do, and I'm gonna actually do it this year if they do allow trick or treating, is just do the trick or treating outside of my garage, and people can just walk up to the table,
Right.
and I can just hang out in the garage. Probably
Right.
better, and then kids can still do their trick or treating. But we were watching Monster Squad. I was trying to get my kid, he's 3.5 years old, into Monster Squad. And first off, that movie would never be made today.
It's super violent. It's a super violent PG-13
And there
movie.
is so much more cursing. Like, my wife is like,
Yeah.
what are we watching? And I'm like, I forgot.
They've been trying to remake that, unfortunately, but it's such a cool movie. Like, it's such a cool aesthetically too. Like, it's like such a classic horror movie. Yeah.
It's so much fun. But anyways, so yeah. Forgot what we were talking. We were talking about Tarantino.
We're
'cause we
talking
were on
about
10.
Tarantino. Hatefully. I don't know how we got into Monster Squad, but whatever. Monster Squad is awesome.
Oh, Monster Squad is awesome. You should watch it every Halloween.
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's
That was kind of creepy. The transition, the camera's going around like the phone booth as he's transforming. That guy too was the guy from Daylight.
That's up.
The guy from Daylight was his partner that blew up in the car.
Yes, it
that
is.
Poor bastard, man. He just kidding.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Same black guy. Yeah.
But that was sucked too. I was like, oh man, it sucks.
We're gonna have a whole episode on
Just that guy.
people that we hate. Just that guy, or people that we sad to see died in a movie.
Yeah.
Wow, man, good point. That is the same black guy.
Same guy.
Wow.
So-
I wonder what he's up to these days.
So do you think Tarantino's been? That's another thing that kind of annoys me with Tarantino. It's like, I'm going to stop making movies at 10. So now like every movie is like the average says the 8th film from Tarantino, the 9th. Like, who cares, man? Just make a good movie. Like you just.
It's because he can put that. It's because it's his movie. He can.
But it's because he's not able to tell a great story anymore. Like he's surviving off the marketing and the cast. Everybody is still jump on the Tarantino movie.
Oh, that's 100%.
No actor's going to turn that down. No way.
That's 100%. And I said that to somebody in a Facebook comment. The problem with Tarantino, Nolan, and Spielberg ran into this issue. Lucas has run into this issue. What's another high? De Palma probably ran into this issue. Like, you get so caught up in your world that everybody's trying to jump on that train. I want to be on the next Django. I want to be in the next Kill Bill. I want to be in the next Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That nobody ever goes up to them and goes like, "Hey man, this script right here, can we change some dialogue?" And it's like, "No, we're sticking with that.
Right.
This is
That's
the
it.
dialogue."
You sign on to a Tarantino movie for Tarantino movie. Like there's not going to be any changes happening.
Yeah, that's like signing up for a Star Wars film. The guys from the Lego movie got fired because they were trying
to make a comedy instead of making an action movie with.
Well, they were
comedic
adding
scenes.
lines.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like they're like, no, this is the script. This is Star Wars.
No, it's not a comedy improv movie. Yeah. It's just an action movie that has some comedy in it. That's what we brought you.
And
here
they
for.
get the most boring director ever, which is
It's true.
Ron
It's
Howard.
a good-looking movie, but man, it's just a bore. And
That's boring.
And then the revelation of how he has the name Solo. I was like, really? Like he just jumps on.
It was so non-important that I barely remember.
Exactly. He's like, my name's Han. He's like, and your name? He's like, your name or whatever, your clan. He's like, I don't have anyone. The guy's like, okay, Han Solo. Like, what?
It was at the train depot.
Yeah,
or some
it was
shit,
so
right?
lame. It was so lame. But like I have a problem with prequels too. Like like I get they're trying to establish. Like there's some fans that love that stuff. Oh, I want to see Han Solo's origin story. Like okay, well like any suspenseful scene with Chewbacca or whatever like that, he's going to survive. Hanging off the side of a train. Hold on, Chewie. Like there's no suspense there. He's going to survive.
No, there isn't. Yeah.
He's in
9.
9. He's in 9 other movies.
And that's my issue. That's we've talked about this. That was my issue with Solo, and that was my issue with Civil War, and the Avengers films. There's no real threat. There's no real threat.
Oh no, I mean yeah.
In those big movies, you're like, oh, they're gonna fight each other.
That's a whole. That's a whole. That's a whole.
The only person that got the worst end of that stick was the human.
Yeah.
And that's Rhodey. and he hurt his back.
Yeah, he still survived. He survived.
Yeah,
that
he still
fall.
survived. Yeah, and like he was the only one that got the shit end of the stick of that, and it's like, why couldn't they hurt the superhuman guy who could heal like in a week?
Yeah.
You know, like
That's
shit,
that's a
man.
whole separate problem. Just like
And then they all come back.
Exactly, all come back. But let's see. I mean, Downey should stay down. After Endgame, so stay down. Everybody that died after the snap or before the snap should have stayed dead. So Vision stayed dead, right?
Yeah, he lost the gem. Yeah.
But I mean, he's got the show coming out. I don't know what that's going to be all about.
Wanda and Vision. Well, I'm all for it. It'll be interesting to watch.
I wonder
it,
I guess it's a prequel before he died. I don't know. But it's again okay. It's a series, a prequel series. Like who cares? But like, what was it? Who else died before the snap? Gamora died, but there's a creative way of bringing her back, so I'm okay with that. Now,
yeah, and that's gonna tell a whole different story of them trying to fall in love again
yeah,
and being part of a team and kind of stuff like that.
So that's a fun way to do it.
Build on the sister and sister relationship now. That's which I'm all for. But those kind of movies, man, I have a huge issue, and that's and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a fantasy world, I guess, and I guess maybe that's what Tarantino does best. Is he takes a little bit of that real world and makes a fantasy world out of it. And yo,
your dog Adrian agrees. Adrian agrees.
Uh-oh, my family's home.
Yeah. Oh damn.
I wasn't expecting this.
Oh damn.
Everybody's home early.
Well, we'll close it on Tarantino.
We'll close on Tarantino, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll pick it up.
Sorry, guys.
Pick it up again.
I
soon.
gotta go.
So
We're an hour and 10 minutes. So
we still went at it. We still went at it.
Yeah.
Tarantino.
Still went at it.
Everybody be safe out there.
Be safe.
We'll see you in the next one.
Peace. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.